Hey, what's going on? BTVR here. Big TV reviews. Today, we're going to be reviewing Master of None Season 1. So we're going to start off with the spoiler-free part of this review. Pretty much what Master of None is all about is a dude named Dev, an actor. He's living in New York, hanging out with his friends, and taking on a bunch of different themes like race, sex, immigration, dating, and gender inequality. I'd recommend this show to people who like realistic comedies, such as Louis. Louis is pretty clearly an influence on this show. And my spoiler-free review, Master of None, it's got a great cast of characters with a lot of good performances. Aziz Ansari is very good. I think he might have won an Emmy for Master of None Season 1. I'm not quite sure. Lena Waithe is godlike. Noel Wells, good job, Noel. But the characters themselves are great. Just everything you can ask for in terms of an ensemble cast and an ensemble group of characters. It's a spot-on depiction of modern-day life for young adults in such things as online dating and just friendship in general, use of technology, Uber and stuff. It gets it right. It gets everything right. Very relatable if you're a young adult. It's funny. It's a funny show. I think Aziz Ansari is funnier in this show than he was in Parks and Rec. Didn't really like his Parks and Rec character that much, but in this show he's much more subdued and much more relatable, and I think much funnier. And the plots themselves, like, this was a much more serial show than lots of comedies are. Even though like it technically is still episodic, it carries on plot lines more so than some other comedies do, and I really appreciate it for that. Like, it's legitimately has decent plots running through. So it's time for me to rate Master of None Season 1. Based on all the things that I've said so far, one might think, oh, he's gonna give it a high rating, like a really high rating, because I haven't really said anything bad about it yet. 7.4. 7.4, mainly because like it's episodic. I don't like to dish out good ratings, like really good ratings, to shows that don't really have serial plot lines, because I just don't enjoy them as much. But like in terms of an episodic comedy, this is cream of the crop. Now, spoiler full. This is my spoiler full segment of the review. So I'll start with plot points that I liked. Dev and Rachel, a good on-screen relationship. Lots of comedic on-screen relationships are cringy and not very believable, but Dev and Rachel, I could see that, you know? They had good chemistry. Aziz Ansari and Noel Wells, they acted well together. The whole Nashville trip was kind of like, wow, that's intense, but the episode was good. There wasn't a single moment in their relationship, as opposed to most comedies, where I was like, ugh, like stop showing me this lovebird. But it was good. I liked Dev and Rachel's relationship. The ice cream scene, wow. The ice cream scene with the dude from The Americans, oh, that was funny. With like the when he just kept showing people's faces in the ice cream and stuff. That was hilarious. You know, the episode where Dev was cheating on that dude's wife and he showed up at the ice cream shop. He cut in line in front of Dev and Dev was like, oh no, it's him. Funny. And the beginning of the Ladies and Gentlemen episode, the episode titled Ladies and Gentlemen, the beginning of that episode where they're comparing the two walks home for Dev's actor friend from the commercial and for Devin Arnold, that was funny. I enjoyed that immensely. Like the fact that it showed how much of a discrepancy there is. That was entertaining. Now, things I didn't like, things I disliked from this season. The fact that it was episodic, not a huge fan. Also, the feminist thing from Aziz doesn't really hold up right now. Just that whole episode with him being touted as like a feminist hero. Not great with his whole Me Too thing. That episode doesn't really hold up. But that's all I didn't like. I liked the season. I liked it a lot. So characters. Now we're going on to characters that I liked. Dev. I liked Dev. I've said it before. Didn't like Tom Haverford from Parks and Rec. Didn't like him very much. He was way too over the top, way too childlike. Dev in Master of None is a great character. He is much more subdued. He is much more realistic. And I think that's just based on necessity of him being the leading man. If they threw Tom Haverford on the screen and had him take up most of the screen time for 10 episodes, it would be an unwatchable show because the energy would just be too much. But Dev plays it well. Denise, great. I love Denise so much. Lena Waithe is very funny. Denise is very funny. And Dev's dad, Dev's dad is hilarious. The fact that he had his parents acting in the first place is really funny. They were obviously not very good actors, especially his mom. His mom, probably a lovely woman. I'm sure she's a lovely woman. She can't act. His dad is a little better, still bad, but like bad enough so that it's comedic. And the way he says like man and stuff, he says man so much, that's really, really funny. And all the technology stuff that he has trouble with, great stuff. Characters I didn't like as much. Arnold, he's too much. Sometimes he makes me wonder, how is he like a functioning adult living by himself in New York City? For instance, in the Ladies and Gentlemen episode, when he goes to pick up that couch with Rachel, he doesn't seem like he's all there. I just don't think his character is that funny in season 1. And the end game report. It's time for the end game corner. Master of None, like legitimately for a comedy, it had an end game, which was solid. I thought the end game was pretty decent. I was happy that Dev and Rachel didn't end up together. Obviously, like as characters, I was kind of rooting for them, but as a viewer of many comedies in the past, the good things tend to prevail. Good things tend to happen to the main characters. The fact that they broke up and she went to Tokyo and he went to Italy, I liked that. It was a breath of fresh air in a pretty stale genre, and a pretty stale rom-com genre. Like when she actually showed up at his door and was like, I'm moving to Tokyo, I thought it was gonna be like, oh, they're gonna get back together, or they're gonna like break up amicably. She legit like was just like, I'm going to Tokyo, and that shocked me. That really surprised me. It just validated the show as something that isn't going to be just bullshit all the time. And the uncertainty that we were left with at the end. Most comedies wrap up their storylines at the end of seasons, but Master of None like actually left us with uncertainty that just like reflected the show's main themes of like it being like life, and life is uncertain. Life doesn't just tie up in a pretty bow. At the end of certain parts of your life, you are left wondering what's going to happen. You know, you quit your job, you move somewhere. Typically in comedies, they're going to be like, oh, and they were happy. Master of None, you go into the next season, you're like, what's going to happen? Are Dev and Rachel going to be cool? What's Dev doing in Italy? Just great. That's a review, 7.4. I think that's a good rating for Master of None.